Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we are doing a reading and energy update for our beautiful collective here on YouTube. So I am actually recording this the morning of when it's going to be released. So this reading is essentially being done in real time. And because of that, I feel like we're really going to be able to tap into the collective energy today. What is happening right now that could be relevant to you or your life? Now, as I always say, always use your intuition and only take the messages that really do feel resonant for you on a personal and intuitive level, because I do channel into many different people and energies and situations. Now, the first thing I want to talk about in this reading before we get into the cards is a phrase that came through as I was sitting to meditate today. Now, something really interesting that I've been noticing about the collective energy is that it feels a little bit restless. And so when I was getting into my morning meditation today, I found that it was more difficult to access that clear, quiet space that I'm usually able to access within myself. And it wasn't necessarily a negative feeling, but there's almost this buzzing in the field or this kind of restless energy. So I'm really curious as well if any of you have been experiencing this. And if you have any experiences related to this, then I would love to know in the comments section if you feel guided to share anything. But it was this strange feeling of like, it wasn't necessarily negative, but almost like a distractibility or a difficulty just tapping into a deeper space of clarity. So you may be finding that it takes more conscious focus, and I'm hearing like a self-discipline than usual to get to that state of peace within yourself, whether that is a space that you get to through meditation traditionally or through other forms, because of course there are many different ways to access that clear, quiet space within us, whether it is traditional meditation, walking in nature, whatever works for you personally, doing music, creating, whatever the case is for you. So I feel as though, and as this was happening, the thought occurred to me, the energy wants to move. And so this restless feeling that I had, this kind of buzzing sensation, feels connected to this energy within us that wants to move itself or wants to be acted upon. So the feeling I get is that you may actually be feeling this sort of fire within yourself, or this energy, or this sense of wanting to move the energy itself, maybe through creating with it, or wanting to literally physically move into some kind of action of some sort. But what I got as well in connection with this is that, well, the sentence, "you have the ability to affect the fabric of reality," came through. And so I feel as though we are being more consciously directed into ways that we can alter the fabric of the reality around us, ways in which we can actually move that energy within us to affect reality, to affect outcomes in our lives. And because we are kind of coming into this space or this state for whatever collective I'm speaking to here, I also am really feeling inspired to do a video where I talk about different methods of shifting the fabric of your reality and experiences that I've personally had with some of these techniques, the techniques that I personally use to do this reality shifting work in my own life, because I know that we all have different ways to shift reality and to manifest, but I would love to discuss that more in detail in a more podcast style video here on the channel. So do stay tuned for that. And of course, I would love for you to subscribe if you would like to hear that kind of content or more readings like this. I am doing daily videos through 2025 and all through the year 2026. I will be here every single day with all of you. So I would love for you to come along for that journey if you're feeling inspired to it. But I want to go ahead and start shuffling the cards and just see what wants to come up here. So I'm going to start with one of my traditional tarot decks. And by the way, I will be starting to tag the decks that I'm using in the products section underneath the YouTube videos. I know that I mentioned this in the last couple videos, but I am still fully figuring out the feature. So I think that the tagging process was a little bit clunky last time, and I'm not sure if the products did fully tag or not. So you can expect that in coming videos as I get more adjusted to this new feature. But let's go ahead and get started. I also did actually just order several new Oracle decks and tarot decks as well. So there will be a lot of fresh new content and messages and readings coming in the future, especially as I'm incorporating those new decks. So let's start with the energy oracle cards. What can I channel for all of the beautiful souls tuned in here? Okay, so the first card we have is woman holding a heart in the reverse position and all tied up in the upright position. And this is sitting on the root chakra. So the sense that I get is I'm picking up on someone who's been feeling a little bit overwhelmed emotionally by some kind of person or situation. And it's been keeping them stuck or feeling blocked in some kind of way. And I will say right away that something about the energy coming through here actually feels really complex. It feels multi-layered and maybe a bit nuanced. Sorry, I'm adjusting my microphone here for a second. It feels a bit nuanced. And so I feel that it's something that we're going to need to unpack in layers. So do bear with me as we do that unpacking work here to see what's really going on. I am also going to be looking into the number 23 because this number is the number of the all tied up card in the energy oracle deck, which this will be one of those decks that I do try to tag in this video. This has been my probably all-time favorite deck that I've been using since the very beginning of this channel. This literally was the first oracle or tarot deck that I ever owned. So it's really special to me. And I feel it brings through a lot of really aligned messages. But I get the sense that there's something that has felt very overwhelming about a particular thing or energy or person in your life. And the overwhelm seems to be affecting like the heart chakra, but then the root chakra as a byproduct of that. So of course the heart chakra is being affected because we are talking about emotional overwhelm. So it's something that you're feeling in the heart space, but then somehow this seems to be ungrounding the root chakra as well, like making you feel a little bit destabilized or a little bit unsettled in some sense. This could even be that energy that we've been tapping into in some of the mini readings that I talked about, almost like overstepping its bounds. This really came through in a very strong, specific mini reading style video that I just channeled yesterday. That was yesterday's daily video. So perhaps if this is connecting for you, there may be a message there in that mini reading for you as well that you might want to explore after this one. But let's talk about the number 2323. So this is bringing us the message that you're aligning with a new timeline, but still learning to relax into it. Ooh, yeah. Okay. When I said I was adjusting the microphone, I almost said I felt like there was a message about like you adjusting something, but now I'm getting it's adjusting to something. Like this emotional overwhelm that someone is feeling here, it's almost like you adjusting to this new timeline, learning how to relax into it. And the other messages coming up here are you're being asked to collaborate with life instead of forcing outcomes. Your intuition and creative voice are meant to be expressed more freely. This is also reminding us you're not doing this alone. Stay open-hearted, keep communicating honestly, let joy be part of the manifestation, not something postponed until after. And it's interesting that we were talking earlier about you shifting the fabric of your reality, because what I'm getting is that you are really uncovering how to manifest in a way that allows you to almost like play in the energy, where you are embodying the energy of your desires as though they are already happening, and like playing in that energy, feeling joy from that, showing up as the person who is living in that dream reality and manifesting those things, instead of manifesting in the form of like trying to get yourself to like imagine outcomes that feel like they haven't happened yet. I know this is like very nuanced, but it feels as though there's this shift here where now you are embodying those new realities from day one and showing up as the person who's already manifested those things and feeling a joy from that. I'm hearing manifestation through embodiment instead of just through thinking. So that could be a shift that's happening for someone in their personal journey. But I also feel that for some of you, this emotional overwhelm is related to something that actually feels really exciting for you or really good to you, or is actually a really positive thing, but it comes with a lot of emotional energy attached to it at the same time. And so it's almost as though your system is... That's funny. Right as I was saying that, my alarm went off that I forgot that I'd had set. So someone could be experiencing some kind of like literal moment of like a wake-up call, or like some kind of, I'm hearing like a sudden shift in perspective or things coming into focus in a different kind of way. And it's interesting because that alarm that I set was actually the alarm that I had set to make sure that I started this reading on time. And so it's almost like someone is getting an internal spiritual wake-up call to get started with something, like creating or doing something. Like now is the time to jump into action. So there could be some kind of message there for someone. But yeah, what I'm getting is that there's some kind of emotional overwhelm around something that feels very exciting, very exhilarating, very new. There's a lot of emotion attached to it. And what I'm getting is, for a second, I thought that it was that overwhelm that was keeping you feeling stuck. But now what I'm kind of picking up is that as we peel back the layers, it almost seems as though you are stuck because you can't go back into an old way of doing things or an old way of thinking. It's like this energy, as we said at the beginning, it wants to move you and it wants to move through you. It wants to be created with. And I feel that in the past, you may have been able to almost like rein in this energy and to like recalibrate and reset yourself and kind of like withdraw from this energy rather than moving through it or moving that energy to create something. You used to be able to like sit with it, but now it's like being forced into creation. Like it wants to be created with, it wants to be moved with, not like just integrated internally, if that makes sense. It wants to be infused into something in the external world. Or like, for example, if this is you connecting more with like a person romantically or with your community or getting out and doing certain things in the world, it's almost like in the past, you used to be able to take those urges to connect and like internally somehow process them or integrate them or journal from them. But I'm getting that now it's almost like you feel a restlessness about trying to turn inward with this energy because it's meant to inspire you to express outward or to like move with the energy. And it's pushing you in that direction, and you aren't able to go back into just kind of like pulling back and integrating it. It's asking you to move with it. That's the strongest message that I'm getting here. I'm hearing something about learning as you go. So there may be something that you're doing or creating that is requiring you to learn as you go, like to trust that as you keep moving with it or creating with it, the next step is going to reveal itself to you. I'm hearing the process won't be perfect, but it will be right. So maybe someone's being asked to really let go of perfectionism and to allow themselves to, again, like move with this energy, create with it, play in the fabric of your reality, and learn as you go. Let the steps be revealed forward to you as you keep moving. I get the sense of like, as you're ready to take that next step, it appears in front of you, but I'm hearing you only ever get the very next step. So there may also be a message here about wanting to see the whole map or exactly how things are going to play out, but only really being given the next step forward. And I'm hearing you can't connect the dots prematurely. There's something about holding the vision of like the whole picture and embodying that energy. Again, like manifestation through embodiment as opposed to just thinking, actually letting yourself embody the energy of the end result or the full picture, but then taking that next step forward without overthinking the map. So it's almost like as you hold that vision for the entire picture of the person that you're becoming or the thing you're manifesting or the vision you're creating, you're holding that whole picture and embodying it now. But then the next step is given to you, but you don't have the whole map. And so there is like an element of letting go, especially letting go of the perfectionism within all of that. Because again, it won't be perfect, but it will be right. It will be aligned. I'm also getting something about something feeling like raw and messy, but being extremely aligned, not looking like quote unquote perfect on the surface, but being like deeply spiritually connected to you and like really, really aligned with your soul's path, with your heart, with your soul. For some of you, this could be like a connection or a person that you're connecting with where things between you feel really like raw and messy and emotional. And yet it's so deeply like cleansing and it's connecting with your soul. And it feels so powerful because even though it's messy, it's very much aligned. This also could be speaking to your creative process, or maybe you're creating things that feel messy. I'm seeing a cook that's like making a mess in a kitchen. There's like a chef that's making all this amazing, delicious food, but the kitchen's getting messy. And I'm hearing something about like when something feels like raw and messy and a little bit discombobulated, it's actually in some cases a sign that you are really starting to move the energy and create something beautiful. And just because it's messy doesn't mean it's not aligned. In fact, often that can be a sign of how you are really starting to move the energy in a powerful way. With the Hermit reversed, I see this just representing this shift out of isolation mode and into connection mode. And I'm getting that for some of you, this is where the messiness is, because there is this feeling of opening up to new forms of connection and love and community and maybe even collaboration. But there's this element of chaos to it where it feels unknown, because of course it is. Whenever we're bringing in other people into our lives, other connections, and we're opening up to them or developing like some kind of deep friendship or bond or relationship with them, it's naturally going to be messy because it's going to bring to the surface everything within both of us that has fears of connection or being supported or being loved in that way. But it can also be so deeply healing for us in a way that we can't always find just through isolation. And I feel that that is a major theme that we are stepping into in 2026. It's about healing through connection and not just through isolation. And of course, those periods of isolation, those hermit modes, are very sacred and they serve a purpose. But I feel that you're going to be experiencing less and less of that and much more of the playing with the energy, moving out into the world, moving with this energy, connecting with others, letting it be messy and real and raw and magical, and getting that energy moving. With the 10 of Pentacles as well, I see that this is deeply connected to your abundance timeline. And for some reason lately, the words your abundance timeline keep coming through so strongly in recent reading videos and in downloads as well. So I really get the sense of you connecting in with your highest abundance timeline, however you personally define abundance, because I know that we all define that in different ways. But I'm getting that, ironically, this highest abundance timeline that you are connecting with, it seems to come like through the mess and through the chaos. not through the perfection. So it's not this perfectly polished path. And I'm getting that if you're feeling a little bit chaotic or a little bit ungrounded or even a little emotionally overwhelmed sometimes, know that you're feeling this because you're expanding your capacity to hold all of the abundance that is coming in. Your abundance timeline is a version of your life where prosperity, ease, support, and fulfillment are your default setting, not something that you have to earn or chase through struggle. And again, we define this in different ways. So it's not just about material things, but it's literally about being on the frequency where the things that you desire start flowing to you naturally and harmoniously, again, with that sense of ease within yourself. This is the timeline where you are supported instead of strained, receiving instead of constantly pushing, in alignment with opportunities meant for you, experiencing synchronicity, ease, and momentum. And it's the timeline where your nervous system is regulated enough to receive. So I feel that with this process of regulating your emotional system, your nervous system, it's almost as though that process is part of what feels so messy and chaotic. It's you actually coming into deeper levels of ease and peace and learning how to allow yourself to actually feel safe there. So let's go ahead and keep shuffling the cards. And I'm also going to take a quick sip of my coffee here. I just have plain black coffee today. So I would love to know what you are eating or drinking during this reading, if you do have a comforting snack or beverage. Okay, so can I channel anything else from this particular stream of energy? Okay, the card Attachment Reversed in Appreciation upright. I'm hearing something about noticing what is showing up for you now and trusting that what is meant for you is showing up for you in this version of you. And I know this sounds really strange, but there's like this huge feeling of surrender around this, where you're being asked to notice who and what is truly showing up to love you or support you or care for you or give to you, and to allow in that love and support, and at the same time, to no longer feel as though it is your job to force connections into place that are not showing up for you. Because the feeling that I get is, in the past, you may have, I'm hearing you were very you were very good at being able to hold people to your timeline, in a sense, through a lot of effort and expenditure of emotional energy. So in the past, you may have been able to sort of like bridge people into your higher timeline by expending a lot of effort and energy to connect with them, and also compromising on your wants and your needs and your desires, so that even if they were not showing up for you in the ways that you needed, you were sort of filling in and bridging those gaps, but it was taking a lot of your energy. And now what I'm getting is, you're being asked to really surrender, meaning to allow what is truly showing up for you to meet you here. And yes, to receive that with love, with gratitude, and to enjoy whatever is showing up for you, but also to not attempt to force a timeline that isn't happening for you, is what I'm getting. Or maybe it's like a timeline with a person that doesn't feel like it's happening. Not to say it won't ever happen, but there's a message about holding, again, like this whole picture vision of yourself and your life and embodying that now, and then just seeing who can meet you in this frequency, who is showing up for you now to support you, to care for you, who wants to connect with you on this energy and frequency. And I feel there's something so powerful in that, just allowing who and what wants to connect with you in this energy to connect with you, instead of trying to force someone up onto your timeline who may not really have the capacity to sustain themselves there. Because if they aren't sustaining themselves there on your timeline, you are doing the sustaining for them, and that is draining your energy. And all of that energy now is really being called forth towards again, like being moved, being created with, being focused in a more powerful way, bringing more results in the fabric of your reality, like we've been talking about here. And I feel that as a result of this surrender, you're going to notice certain forms of heavy or draining or depleting energy leaving your life or no longer being able to connect with you in the same way. But this is actually a gift because it's freeing up more of your energy for whatever it is you are doing or creating. I'm hearing like your soul mission, whatever that is for you. Because for whoever I'm tapping into here, I very much get the sense that whether you consciously feel this way or would describe it this way, you are now really living in alignment with your soul's mission. And yes, for some of you, that might be a very specific thing that you are doing or creating. But for others of you, it's your existence. It's this energy that you're showing up in. It's how you're interacting with other people on a day-to-day basis while being in this energy that is your soul mission. I'm hearing it doesn't have to be complicated and it can evolve over time. But I'm hearing that for you, like if this message is reaching you, you are already living in your soul's mission and purpose. And that is why as well, you are so tapped in right now to your highest abundance timeline. I feel that you are going to be receiving opportunities and like moments of things manifesting or coming into your life out of nowhere and in very unexpected ways that are going to fulfill some desires that you've had for a very long time. And for some reason, I'm specifically seeing this in the area of like money, finances, or material things, but also in the area of love and relationships, things just seeming to come in out of nowhere that are exactly what you feel that you've been looking for. And I just keep getting this sense of like you almost being blindsided in the best way where you don't really see it coming, but it's so beautiful when it shows up. So what else can I channel either from this thread of energy? Well, it's interesting that this 10 of Pentacles card that we've been connecting with your highest abundance timeline is sitting on the heart chakra stone on my desk. Because what that tells me is your highest abundance timeline is also the timeline where you are most connected to your heart, where your heart chakra is the most open. And so I get the sense that the more you open your heart and follow that highest heart energy is what I'm hearing, like your highest emotional energy, follow the path that is bringing out the most emotion for you, that gets you emotional or excited just thinking about it, and continue moving in that direction. I feel that that is also connecting you with this very high level, abundant kind of frequency and energy. I also feel, with that appreciation card, there's something about how we talked about noticing the people and the things that are actually showing up for you now. But what I'm getting is these people and things are the ones who also deeply support and appreciate who you are and express admiration for you. And I'm seeing a very stark line of contrast being drawn right now between people who genuinely admire you and are open with that admiration, and people who see you and see your light and see who you are and feel maybe some level of inspiration or admiration, but then turn that into like a jealousy or an insecurity or a projection. So there's a very stark line being drawn between people who take the way that you are inspiring them, the way that you are showing up in the world, and allow that to amplify them and inspire them, and vice versa, like those bonds of mutual elevation where we are inspiring and uplifting and admiring and appreciating each other. You're really going to notice the difference between those. And for some reason, I'm hearing something about withholding compliments. Like you're going to notice the difference between that and people in your life who intentionally withhold compliments or praise or admiration because they see you and they actually do admire you on some level, but they internalize that as some form of jealousy or insecurity, or they feel like deflated in some way because they see you shining instead of allowing that energy to further amplify and inspire them. So you're going to start noticing a huge difference between people who take this energy that you're exuding and use it to inspire and amplify themselves, and people who take that energy and like internalize it in some kind of strange way or allow it to trigger them without processing the trigger. And people who have done this to you, and by the way, I feel this is something you've noticed for a long time and tolerated for a long time. Again, maybe this is part of you like having in the past bridged those gaps between others and your own higher timeline. But what I'm getting is like the energy in this collective field is no longer allowing you to do that. You're going to feel very like repulsed by the idea of doing that, of bridging the gap for others. And that repulsion is actually intuitive because it's your sign that you are not meant to be doing that for others anymore. You're meant to be allowing that energy that you used to expend trying to bridge the gap between you and them. You're taking that energy and you're pouring it into yourself and your vision and your soul mission that we were referencing earlier, even if that's just you showing up on this planet, existing as you are. And I say just that, but that is profound. That is phenomenal. That requires huge bravery and courage. And it's having a massive impact on the planetary collective and the frequency of our entire global humankind. But what I'm getting is, again, you're really going to start noticing the differences and you're going to become very intuitive and sensitive to this as well. And your system is no longer tolerant to people or energies who feel almost threatened by you and your existence or your fullness or your light. And you're going to be, because of that, actually magnetizing in more of those connections who actually feel amplified and inspired by your energy and your frequency. And there's something about the difference between like someone expressing that admiration and withholding it intentionally, and how you can almost sense it in people. Like, you may notice, not to say you're vying for compliments, because I don't get that like at all, but you're very intuitive. So I feel you can sense when someone admires you and they're very open and they aren't afraid to share that admiration or that appreciation openly. But you really notice the difference between that and someone who feels some level of admiration, but then takes it and internalizes it and then feels something negative as a result of it and withholds appreciation from you in the physical, or withholds praise or compliments or admiration, even if you're giving it to them, because they are dealing with some kind of like negativity, like a negative reaction within themselves as a result of the admiration that they're feeling for you. And again, those kinds of energies were very draining for you to connect with because you constantly had to be the one doing the work on your end. It's very cliche, but it is true that connections are two-sided. And I feel like you're finally fully realizing that from an energy and spiritual perspective that, well, I will say, you have been able to maintain connections that have felt very one-sided, but you're really realizing that they're meant to be two-sided, that energy and inspiration and motivation and admiration is meant to flow both directions, and that you can sustain a connection that's more one-sided, but you will be expending so much energy that won't be replenished in the same way when the connection is one-sided. Whereas when you're in a two-sided connection where you are inspiring and amplifying each other and you're both openly flowing that energy of support to each other, not only are you getting back the energy you're giving out, but I'm hearing you both now have access to even more amplified energetic reserves as a result of that connection between you. And that is the beauty of nurturing, supportive, soul-aligned connections that I feel you're really going to be discovering in this next era of your life. Because in the past, you may have been in a lot of those one-sided connections that drained you. And then even in the idea of like having a two-sided connection, it may have felt like, you know, yes, you're giving and getting back, but there's no real like net positive necessarily. But what I'm getting is you're really going to be discovering that the true benefit of those forms of community and connection, friendship, romance, whatever it is that it doesn't just give you back energetically what you're putting out. It actually amplifies you and increases you and does the same for them. It gives you both access. It's like when you combine your energy in that way with someone, when there's that two-sided connection, it doesn't just equal out or like cancel out. It actually gives you both access to an infinitely greater pool of energy and inspiration and ideas and motivation as a result of having connected with each other. And that feels like a beautiful segue into saying thank you for connecting here with me on this channel, because I really feel that we do that for each other here through this YouTube community. And I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't yet and join me in this journey, especially with the daily videos through 2026. I would love to inspire you and connect with you every single day here on YouTube. There will be an extended version of this reading. I do extended readings 3 times per week for both Patreon members and YouTube members. So you can listen to the extended by clicking the link in the pinned comment or description box under this video. I don't really know what we're going to be talking about there yet, but we will just be continuing this thread of energy and seeing what wants to show up for you. But otherwise, I am sending you huge amounts of love. Have an amazing day, and I will connect with you here again in the next reading.